Hey, I'm Yash. I'm the founder and CEO of Crete, which is a concrete company based out of Bangalore, India. Alright. My message to the world is it's not the strongest or the biggest that succeed. It's always the ones who are the most adaptable to change. I didn't say it, Charles Darwin did, but it's still very, very wise.
Take talk. Let's talk. This is the Miten Shah Show. We've asked the same 7 questions to entrepreneurs from all over the world to figure out what makes us tick. Take talk. Let's talk.
So, welcome back, everybody. Today we're here with Yash. Yash, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Where are you from? And if you had to explain what your company does to a 7-year-old child, what would you say?
Okay, so I'm from Bombay, and I moved to Bangalore 7 years ago. And my company basically makes concrete products. So it makes parts of large roads.
Okay,
I think that's the best way to explain it.
so you make roads.
Parts of it. So
Yeah.
I'll make, someone else makes the road because
Yeah.
it needs to be made where the road is. What
Yeah.
I do is I build small components like pipes and drains and things like that go to site and get assembled there.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Tell me, what got you started on this journey?
Well, I mean, the entrepreneurial bug was always sort of culturally inbuilt, and I was very keen on sort of fulfilling unwanted and unmet needs in India. And when I moved back to India from college, one of the first things I saw was that we had not enough infrastructure, and two, we had a very non-technologically driven process to manufacture infrastructure and to create infrastructure. So for me, I said, okay, labor costs aren't going to be the way they are. Labor quality is not going to be the way it is. Products made manually are not going to be of the same quality that machine-made products are going to be. So clearly there are niches that we can sort of fill in this area. So that's what sort of drove us towards exploring different things that we can do within infrastructure construction, which eventually took us to where we are now.
Okay, awesome. Tell me some of the things that keep you up at night, and on the flip side, what makes you jump out of bed in the morning?
What makes me jump out of bed in the morning is always innovation.
Okay.
So for us, the only thing that sort of excites me at work is trying to do something different and trying to do something cool. So I'm not an engineer.
Yeah.
I work with civil and mechanical engineers all the time, and for me it's always interesting to be able to challenge them, just keep asking them questions and say, can we try this and can we try that? And very often we're able to do that. So we've built machines and we've built contraptions on machines that we've bought from these fancy technological technical companies in Europe and China and elsewhere in the world, and we've sort of tweaked those machines to make them better than they were originally intended to be, right? We've also done a lot in terms of cost reduction and cost cutting, because that's honestly the only area we have an opportunity to sort of be innovative in. I think all your usual stumbling blocks of entrepreneurship are the things that keep you up at night, right? So bureaucracy, slow decision making, dealing with situations out of your control. And what happens is construction and road building and infrastructure development at the end of the day is being consumed by the government, and at whatever level the government is involved at, there's certain speed breakers that sort of come as a consequence of that, right? So for example, we can't really innovate our product too much because our product is defined by a standard which is set by the government. So the evolution of the product actually happens over years when it should be happening over days. So there's very little we do in terms of product development or product innovation. So that leaves us only with innovation on the production side or on the process side, and that's basically all we do. So I think it's kind of that's sort of the cause and reason why one part of my business is more exciting than the other, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you started this journey?
Oh, a lot of things. People management, number one, and just better judgment.
Okay.
I think
nice.
I think that I think that comes to everyone, right?
Yeah.
So as you mature, meet more people, you realize how to see through things, how to sort of anticipate better in all aspects.
Following up on the better judgment, you might have made some mistakes. If you can share some of these that others can
Oh,
learn
many.
from.
I hired the absolute worst team I could when I set my factory up. So much so that I had 15 senior employees that I fired. I fired 13 of them on the same day. And this was 1 year into my company, and we were exceptionally loss-making. And sort of the next step was then we hired the first.
Can you walk through the decision-making process of
So it was
deciding
outstanding.
to?
So it was outstanding. So I lived in Bombay back then. I set up my factory in Bangalore and sort of hired this high technical team to run it. And sort of I came back from New York. You read these awesome case studies in school about these awesome companies. They do things, and you're like, I'm going to grow quick. I'm going to have this team, and I'm going to give them all the independence in the world. Right? And I did that for 6 months, and the outcome was just horrendous. Right?
Okay.
So I tried to tweak that, and there was a lot of pushback from my staff. And at one point, I said, you know what, this is going to bleed me out slowly. I'm just going to sort of, draw the line right here.
Yeah.
And one fine day, I decided to fire 13 out of the 15 people that worked for me on that day, and got rid of them. Hired the first 13 people that I could find. Because I need someone tomorrow, right? So I had the first 13 guys that were available, which was obviously not wise, but I knew it's not going to be wise. And then over the next year and a half, sort of churned them out, brought good people, trained the guys that could be trained, and then sort of, and that's 6 years ago. I don't think my team's changed since.
Oh wow!
So those are guys I think 80% of the guys that I got in place are still there.
So if you hire the wrong team, don't stop in firing them again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hire slow, fire fast. But and I think so that's sort of along the way I forgot that, and sort of you kind of you built the team with this new team, and now even if I see small chinks, I'm like treat it immediately.
In your business life, what are some of the moments that you're most proud, happy, content, satisfied with?
I think the biggest pride I take is in two things. One is I'm not an engineer. I haven't studied anything in science since the time I was 15, and I run an engineering company. So for me, that's amazing, because the fact that it just goes to prove that formal education isn't the only education. You can keep learning another job, right? And the second thing is just, I think I'm very proud that I stuck through a very, very bad time in my business. I started a business that lost money for 5 years. This is the first business I ever started. And I sort of fought through that. I think that's two things that I'm really, really happy I did.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Tim Ferriss question: if you had a billboard and you could put on any message you want to humanity, what would that message be?
I always wish to do this one day. So what I want is, the Darwin's evolution of man chart. Right? I want that at the back, and I want Darwin's famous quote about. It's not the biggest and the strongest that wins. It's the one that's most adaptable to change. And I think that's sort of the headline, man. That's
sweet.
That's
sweet. Nice. How has EO made a difference in your business, personal, family, or community life?
I think in every way. So I think it's been about two things. One, it's about forum. Obviously, it's been my backbone, just to get into the right mental and emotional state whenever I wasn't. The second has been learning, which to be very honest, I did not expect. So I did expect high profile speakers. I did expect them to come and tell you things. I didn't expect the learning value that I got out of it. And I think that the way EO structures learning events sort of encourages you more to look at take home value than sort of the same speakers in a different forum, say in a public forum or at other events would not be able to give you the same take home value that EO gives you, because EO sort of focuses on that. And I think that's super cool. So all the guys today, you had all these speakers talk mostly about ideas and very little about what they were doing or what they had done, right? So most of them were talking about what's the next big thing, what is an area you should focus on, what's a theme you should focus on, what's a strategy you should have in your company. And for me, that's most powerful thing that sort of EO can give you, is it can teach you how to think correctly and at least push you in the right areas, or the right direction.
Awesome. So Yash, thank you very much.
Awesome.
So from making roads to making an off-road vehicle that doesn't need roads.
That's looks like fun.